Welcome to New World Now, where host Kim Corbin has compelling conversations with authors published by New World Library. They will discuss their personal journeys and share practical tools we can use to be more aware, mindful, and present in our daily lives. Now, here's your host, Kim Corbin.
My guest today, Bill Phillips, had the kind of childhood that seems too tragic to be true. Drug-addicted parents, parental kidnapping, and homelessness. At age 14, he watched his mother die. And 2 days later, she reappeared to him in spirit form, letting him know she was okay where she was. It was the first time someone from the other side had communicated with Bill, and it wouldn't be the last. From then on, spirits on the other side started trying to communicate with their loved ones through Bill. He wasn't sure what was going on at first and tried to ignore them, but their energy was too strong. He eventually found his way to a small metaphysical bookstore that was offering a workshop on mediumship and began the process of honing and refining his skills. Today, Bill is among the most respected psychic mediums in the world, and his individual readings are in such high demand that they are booked a year and a half in advance. His book, Expect the Unexpected, Bringing Peace, Healing, and Hope from the Other Side, shares his amazing journey of going from a horrid childhood to becoming one of the most respected mediums in the world. It also explains why he first denied and then embraced his gift, how spirits communicate with him, and how anyone can learn to use the signs that their loved ones on the other side send them to receive guidance. After working with Bill for several years now and having had the pleasure of witnessing the amazing accuracy of his readings at one of the large group gallery readings he does around the country, I can tell you that he's the real deal, and it's a pleasure to have him here with me today. So welcome, Bill, and thanks for being here.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much. That's awesome.
Yeah, well, it's great to be with you, and I'd like to start by having you talk a little bit from your perspective about your childhood and what it was like. And then if you ultimately feel like it was somehow preparing you for your work as a psychic medium.
Yes. I on a human level, I feel like that scar from childhood will probably always stay with me, because scars always stay. They do heal, but you can always feel them. But I also feel like in every medium or psychic or healer's quest for higher truth, that there's usually a point of trauma that happens, whether it be a near-death experience, a car accident, the death of a loved one in the family. And for me, mine was all kind of piled in at a very young age. And I strongly do feel that in many ways that it was a blessing in disguise for me to understand how, in order to help heal people that are going through their own sense of grief, that you have to have a reference for it yourself. And so I definitely feel that it was preparing me. Now, in the moment, it felt quite the opposite, and I wasn't quite sure how I was going to get through it. But definitely my faith and my sense of spirit, not calling it spirit, at that age, but just my sense of it then in hindsight is what kept me going, So I'm very grateful that I'm here today to share my story and to help inspire other people.
And it's interesting too, because you didn't have a lot of structure as a child growing up, or you didn't have a lot of people telling you this is what you believe, and you just were kind of on your own. So in a way, that is preparation too, because you didn't have anyone like indoctrinating you with strong beliefs. Like you were more open. Right.
I mean, I did have my mom telling me that, that what I had seen as a child, in my room at night was just my imagination, and I also had my grandmother as well with her, with her beliefs. But I was too young to kind of make a judgment on that at that age. And I had to sort of, in many ways, be present in the moment to kind of survive, So I didn't have time really to focus on those elements of religion around me or a belief system. So in many ways, I made my own belief system, which I think is why we're all here in the first place,
Right, right. And in Expect the Unexpected, you say that we all make a soul contract before we're born, which would be part of this as well. So what is the soul contract and what's included in it?
Yeah, I don't. I like to give the analogy of buying a house or literally putting ink to paper, but it really is sort of setting up scenarios and people and situations that you will experience on your path in your life to teach you lessons that you came to learn, whether it be about love. Well, it's usually about love, but whether it be about forgiveness, whether it be about learning how to feel the capacity for love at a deeper level, all the lessons always go back to love. But we have our soul, group, and spirit, which are a physical manifestation in our physical life now. So whether it be your mom, your dad, your partner, your colleagues even, we've all been here before plenty of times, And so in spirit form, before we come back and try it over again, we really do plan different roles. And within those roles are a lot of opportunity for us to see spirituality in a different light and to understand that we're here for more reasons that meet the physical eye. So that soul contract really is an intention of what we come to learn in physical form. And because of free will, we can always choose to change the details in that contract, or even leave at an earlier time. But we always know, and usually in those moments, you might want to call it deja vu, where you're having this memory or thought of something that has happened before our physical time here. But it always makes sense in the end, on a soul level. So
right. And my grandmother Corbin always used to say that we are born with God-given talents and that our purpose in life is to figure out what they are and to use them for the greater good. So I especially love the chapter of your book where you talk about your ability to connect with the other side as a gift, coming to realize that it's a gift that God has given you to serve others. Though, as often is the case when people are called to do something, it sounds like it took you some time to come to that realization. So how did you eventually do so?
Yeah, that's a great question. Because of the circumstances surrounding my childhood and adolescence, I had my grandmother, who's, God bless her, she's still with us, and she raised me based upon her thoughts and her feelings and all that. And so for me, I was clouded with that judgment in my mind. I knew that I had something that went beyond the physical. I didn't know exactly what it was. It took years for me to really put that into words. And I, of course, like we all do, I decided that I was going to push it to the side and run from it as long as I could, because I did not want to be that person that was portrayed in that way, that I had seen on television or in pop culture. So that just scared the heck out of me. So I ran from it. And I was a young singer, an opera singer in training. And I thought, okay, I'm going to make my family proud and happy. I'm going to do this. And I did have passion for it as well. However, when I was in my pursuit of it, I found that what I had discovered that night in that shop would not leave me, would not escape me. And so word of mouth is a very powerful thing. And before I knew it, the word had spread and people were contacting me. And I really, even though I tried my best to at times say, shop is closed now. No, this is not who I am. I'm not doing this. It eventually was so overwhelming that I knew I had to honor it and go with that flow. And it really was for no other reason but to share with people what I was experiencing on this internalized level. So So long story short, I went to a very prestigious conservatory of music in San Francisco, and word got out among faculty. My voice teacher, several other faculty members, and then before I knew it, people were calling me, and I was doing readings kind of on the down low while I was in school, and I really feel that it was also a blessing in disguise because it allowed me to have sort of like this other life to live while at the same time preparing myself for this work, but not realizing it in that moment. So it was a crazy ride, but I know that we're all here, whether it be to be a healer or to be a doctor or in whichever form it is, we're here to sort of break through that fear and to know that on the other side of it lies the potential for an amazing vessel and way to share our gifts with the world in whichever form that is. And so I learned that early on. And of course, it took a lot of struggles, a lot of doubt, but I'm so happy that I had that opportunity to experience it on that level, because now I know that that this was all planned, from a very early beginning.
Yes. And I really love when you're writing about, I'm glad you brought up the Conservatory of Music, and which is another, your voice is another gift that you were given, and you really kind of had both to choose from at a certain fork in the road. But yeah. I really thought it was interesting when you were writing about the similarities between the vibrations of music and the vibrations of spirit and the connection there. Will you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I was very fortunate to have a really wonderful voice teacher at the conservatory. I had several, but one that I was very close with, we had a very personal relationship, and she was very, and still is very spiritual. And when I came out to her with my gift, she was beyond words, because she was also asking Spirit to send her a messenger, and it happened to come in the form of as her student. So it was pretty cool. But she really taught me how paralleled music is with mediumship and just with intuition in general, from many different standpoints. I mean, as a musician, especially as a singer, we're always thinking ahead. So we're very much in that element of intuition and in the moment. But for me specifically, I realized that one of my stronger senses is clairaudience, which is hearing spirit, through my own voice, clearly. And at the time, I was still sort of investigating this, but that would correlate with the throat chakra, which is about speaking our truth. They go hand in hand together. So she really showed me through singing how that energy lines up together, to sort of, in a way, as a way to like charge it, or as a way to as a battery to charge that energy. So I also learned from other teachers as well, to trust, to breathe, and to trust, because as a singer, we also have to trust that when we open our mouths, that something's going to come out, and hopefully it's it's good. And at the same time, with being a messenger, it takes the same level of trust, actually even more so, because there's no script, there's no preparing for it. It really just means showing up and being present and setting the intention for healing to happen, of the highest good of all involved. So I really learned that there, and I also learned how to be comfortable in front of large groups as well. And unbeknownst to me, within my life, I have had wonderful opportunities to have shared my gift in front of hundreds, if not thousands, of people. And I really feel that I got that training at the conservatory, and within that training. So that was a beautiful experience for me. But I also learned how music and vibration of music lifts our spirits as well and raises our energy. And to be able to connect to spirit in the way that we need to bring through that healing, we need to be at a very high level, and we need to be out of our body in a sense, mentally speaking. And I really found the correlation between music, resonance, dissonance, and how they all kind of tie in together. So before I do any reading or any event, I always have on either a beautiful piece of music that lifts me up, or something that kind of pulls up the alpha state in my brain. I'm always sort of investigating new ways to get myself in the zone with music as the catalyst, and that's been also an awesome journey for me.
I was thinking on the drive home last night, I was like singing along to a song, like la 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 la, and then thinking about our interview today, and I thought, I bet that right now I'm more connected to the spirit world because of this music I'm listening to. So even for those of us that don't have a gift like you have, but are connected to the other side, we all are connected, right?
Absolutely. And especially when we're in moments like that, when we're in our car and we're belting out, because we all do it, that's the prime time that spirit can get our attention, because we're not focused on an objective part of our brain, our left brain. We are, in a sense, open to receiving these thoughts or these feelings to come in simultaneously, because we're open, and that's what music does for us. It keeps us open, and we all get impressions from spirit. It's one of the biggest questions that I'm given in general is, do we all have access to this? And we do, but I think that because of pop culture, because of movies, because of just a preconceived notion that many people expect that they're going to be spooked by like a physical apparition appearing to them. And that's really not how this works. It's on a much more subtle level of energy. And really that connection happens on an emotional level and on a mental level. So yes, I always give the example of, your grandmother who loved to bake the apple pie, and you're having a bad day, and all of a sudden the memory pops up of you in the kitchen with her, helping her roll out the dough, and then having this feeling of love and protection and just bliss in that moment. And that really is their way of validating to us that they're with us. But it takes a incredible amount of trust to just know that that's how that communication really works, And
what are some other signs and symbols and ways that they connect with us?
There's so many, and this is the cool thing about this, is that there's no rules to this. Like if you give them a way to communicate with you, they will find a way to make it happen. So I find personally that they like to use electricity a lot to communicate, because they have a way to manipulate the energy of that. So yes, a lot of times, TVs turning on and off, lights going off and on by themselves without any reason why. Music is also huge as well. Turning on the radio to like the perfect lyric on the radio that kind of validates what you needed to hear in that moment, or hearing the perfect song that would correlate with spirit in general. So there are so many ways. For me personally, my mom uses a plethora of ways to get my attention, but originally it was through a white butterfly. And I still see this almost daily now, especially when I need to feel her the most. She sends this to me. But I also get other signs as well. I see 143, which was our code for I love you back in the 90s when we had pagers. See that all the time. And most recently, actually, I have been seeing eagles everywhere. And this was given to me, albeit another messenger, and it took a while for it to surface, but once it did, it's been very evident. So they use nature, they use electricity, they really use anything that they know you will have focus on. So let's just say that you're a baseball player. They may use something in that field to get your attention. It really just depends on each person's own reality and each person's own universe in that sense. But the main ones I would say are anything linked to vibration. So music, thoughts, electricity, those are the main ones that they will use to get your attention. Nature.
My grandmother's way is is cardinals, and we've had, and my family's in Indiana, so there's a lot of cardinals there. Well, there's no cardinals here, and I had a friend who intuitively, she said, "I don't know why I'm supposed to send you this, but this cardinal was just outside of my yard, and I felt inspired to send you a picture."
Oh wow!
Like, wow, it was really something.
That to me is always the most amazing way of validating, because what spirit is doing is they are nudging someone as a messenger, unbeknownst to them, to do something for us as a symbol. And it happens all the time. So I love hearing stories like that. Yes.
And the spirits on the other side are ancestors. I mean, like in indigenous times, people always called on their ancestors. So they really want that from us as much as we wish we could connect with them. Would you say?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they're always around us. It's just a matter of us really sort of getting present with the here and now to pick up on it, you know. And when we do that, we don't need a medium to validate for us, because we know for sure without a doubt that they're there. Another way that I've also seen spirit coming through is through, I call it the doppelganger effect. It's when they will sort of use somebody physically who's a complete stranger to them to sort of show up in their life that may look just like them, so to speak. You know, so a lot of times we'll see that we're at a Starbucks, and let's just say you lost your father, and you know you happen to be and his name was Chuck, you know, and you happen to go up to the person taking the orders, and his name is Chuck, and he looks just like your dad when he was an earlier age. Like, they do this all the time for us. Then it's such an amazing blessing and gift that keeps on giving, you know. And the more that we trust that, the more exciting it becomes.
Yeah, and believe in it and don't doubt.
That is always, we're always wanting to doubt things that we can't see with our physical eyes. You know, it's just part of human nature, and it's also our rational mind, our ego mind, getting in the way, wreaking havoc. You know, which is always there. But when we silence that part of our consciousness, we really can be on that level with spirit, and that pain does go away. It really does.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And we have about a minute or so left, and I'm curious what you would say that you think that the spirit world most wants those of us who are still here in physical form to know.
Okay. They want us to know that they're happy. They are in a good, beautiful space, and they want us to be as close to that space as we can be within our human shell. So don't ever doubt that they're not happy and positive and pure. It's us that have the work to do to get into that space of love and harmony. And so they're always trying to validate their love for us to lift us up to that level.
Beautiful. Well, thank you, Bill Phillip, so much for saying yes to your gift.
Thank you.
And for sharing it with all of us, and for writing your book. And it's just a joy to be with you today.
Thank you so much, Kim. It's always a pleasure. And I thank you so much for your kind words. And I'm so grateful to share this with everyone. So.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
For more information about Bill Phillips and Expect the Unexpected, visit him online at billphillips.com. And his name has one L and two P's. So it's PHILIPPS.com, billphillips.com. And I'd also like to invite you to join the New World Now podcast community on Facebook, where you can be a part of discussions about current episodes and stay up to date on the latest and greatest podcast news. Simply search for New World Now podcast on Facebook to join the group. I hope to see you there and look forward to connecting on future episodes of New World Now.
Thank you for listening to New World Now with Kim Corbin from New World Library. New World Library publishes books and audios that inspire and challenge us to improve the quality of our lives and our world. For more information about their books and authors, you can visit them online at newworldlibrary.com.